Everyone's stories are different, but mine was quite lucky. Oh, I'm so sorry. I've got proper mum blank. I said donor conceived families. I don't necessarily know if that's the way I'd introduce. I just consider us a family. But I have found myself naturally saying donor child. When I've been asked at the hospital quite often, they say, does Dad know? And I just say she's donor conceived, and then they tend to apologise. But again, hopefully, in a few years, that won't even be a question that's asked. It'd just be like, did all parents know? Yes, all parents know. So when I was younger, I wasn't necessarily certain that I wanted a family of my own. I was quite happy to foster or adopt, but as I got older and older, like the need to have my own family, or at least to try to have my own family, got stronger. And I imagine it's quite common among a lot of women. As you get to a certain age, you start thinking, do I need to start worrying? Do I need to start making plans? So I called up a women's clinic, popped along and spoke to a really lovely doctor there. She basically said step one would be to kind of do the equivalent of like a car MOT. They came back fine and she was like, you're in really, really good health. There's no reason why you couldn't start your family now. I was like, well, if I don't go now, that might not be the case in a couple of years' time. If I wait to find someone else, or if I wait a few more years till I've got slightly better pay or slightly nicer house, I might not then have the same options with my fertility. That might not be as good. So when we spoke for my options, I was just like, well, it makes sense to just try. And I did all the checks in July 2019, and then I was pregnant by November. So it all happened rather quickly, but I mean, she's the best thing ever, so definitely made the right choice. When it comes to donors, you can source your own donors. So I wanted to go for an anonymous sperm donor, so I went to a sperm bank through the hospital, and people laugh when I tell them, but it literally was a catalogue. If one kind of sounds like the right one for you, then that's the right one. I read through a lot of different profiles. There's donors that decide to give more information. So some might decide to almost do like a personal statement. And this donor did a personal statement, so there was lots about his childhood and his life growing up, like lots of extra information that he wasn't required to give but had opted to do. There's also the option to write a letter to any potential children, and he opted to do that as well. And when I read the letter, I was like, this is so my kind of belief in life that I could have written that letter. So I was like, that makes sense for me to choose that in the donor for my child. I would like to think that by the time she's old enough to read a book, she'll understand this type of family exists. But we haven't yet got donor-conceived families in books yet, so it's kind of hard to see what the future holds. But I'd like to think that it'd be kind of more widely spoken about and a bit more normal and a bit more common, in a way that I wouldn't even have to set up a special way to talk about this to her. It would just become part of her life as she grows. Can you just turn the buggy around, because I think I see some movement. I just want to see if she's okay. When you have a child by yourself, you also need to, and you're planning to do it by yourself, I think it's really important for you to just think, what am I not offering that maybe a two-parent household might? Someone to hold her while I'm having a bath, someone to play with her while I'm cooking food. So I kind of work my way around those things. So I've got something to hold her or to sit her in every room. I've done some pretty brave things in my life, but nothing is kind of scary, brave and empowering as this. What does it mean to be a mum by myself? It means that I'm not mum. It means that I am the whole family. Everything that she needs, I need to be. So if she needs a shoulder to cry on from a best friend, that's what I'm going to have to be. If she needs a dad, that's who I need to be. I knew what I was getting into. I chose to do this by myself, so I was mentally prepared.